Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. Guys, I'm I'm mind blown and boggled right now. I am. I am. Let me just get these cards ready. Like I'm so like I can't even breathe. It's hard to breathe. I'm having a really hard time processing. Like a really hard time processing. So the title, Everything You've Ever Wanted. I had asked, what are we going to talk about? And that's what I heard. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is like, maybe this is like, a really good reading. Maybe this is going to be something where we're going to find out some amazing, wonderful stuff. It's going to be very inspirational and, all of that lovely. And so I needed to fix my face. I was like, okay, I have like 15 minutes. Let me fix my face. Let me not look so disheveled. Let me brush my hair a little bit. And usually when I do that, my heart's pounding. Usually when I do that, I just go ahead and I play whatever random YouTube video that kind of like catches my eye on the main page. Well, I don't even know what the video was. All I know is last night, I've been writing my book. I've been writing my book about all sorts of different things. And, you know, these are things that are hard to wrap the mind around. It's like, is this like science fiction? Like, what is this? Is this all made up? Are you just really a good storyteller? And so last night, there's this detail about one of my lives, where I burned. I was burned. I was burned. And so this video is playing. It's some random archaeological video. And tell me why this is right in the region where I have the memory of burning in that life, in that region. And I wasn't expecting any of this. At all. That's not why I clicked on the video. I was just like, oh, that might be something interesting to watch. Long story short, the archaeologists found burned remains. They don't know who it is because um, the slabs had no inscriptions on them. And this is a I don't know. All I know is last night before I went to bed, I was thinking to myself, like, now the reality of this book is hitting. It's hitting hard. And it's like, people are going to be like, this is all made up shit. Like, there's no way for me to prove any of this. And what I would really like is to have an understanding of how would I verify any of this? Like, how would I? And then today I have to go through that video much more closely, and I have to get the names of the archaeologists, the exact location, like coordinates. because I have very intact memories of exactly where that was, um, in proximity to existing structures. I don't know if I wanna know. Everything you've ever wanted. Do you want confirmation for something that, to you feels like there's just, um, there's just no way that, past lives are real. There's no way that, whatever you're dealing with, that's part of your in real life experience. There's no way that that could actually happen for you. And it's this thing of there is a way, you know? There is a way. There is absolutely a way, and if you want that, all all you have to do is ask for it. And it was only a half request. It was like as I was falling asleep, kind of like, help me find a way to navigate my uncertainty about this project, because this project has to happen no matter how uncertain, no matter how insecure, no matter how worried I am of like how it will be received. It has to happen. It has to. It's not a matter of I want it to, it has to. When there's something in your life that has to happen, it has to come to fruition. This is the period where you kind of just ease up off the gas and tell soul like, hey, a little bit of navigation please. Am I making a turn soon? What's up? Is it still far away? Guide me, right? Guide me. And it's crazy. I've shared that detail of that particular point in one of my past lives before, and I talk about how there's this labyrinth. That there's a labyrinth and there was a fucking massive war that took place, subterranean conflict that took place, right? And they're talking about a labyrinth. I've been talking about this for years. This video came out October 27th, 2024. I just came across the video a few minutes ago. Let's get started. Everything that you could ever want, everything that you could ever want, it's right there. It's waiting. It's waiting for you to put a claim on it and to call it home to you. And it's really a matter of, do you have the courage to do that? Do you have the courage to do that? It's crazy. Look, it's just it's mind-boggling the way life works, confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. Part of the reasoning as to why that whole thinking of like, I'm gonna need to figure out how to come to terms with this information and how to frame it before it's presented in its totality to the general public. And I already have been given ideas and details of who will be involved. And this one particular person who I know, like several weeks ago, maybe a month or two, I was in touch with this particular person. We don't talk very much, but we're friends. And whenever they appear on one of my live streams, which they almost never do, um, that's a turning point. That's a pivot point. I'm being pivoted by soul. Just the littlest redirection, right? Just a slight shift to keep me on course. And part of the reasoning as to why this popped in my head last night, the questioning, is because maybe a month or two ago I had spoke to this person. I was like, We're going to be working together soon. I don't know on what though, because I didn't. And then they popped up on my live last night, and I was like, oh, that's indicative of something. They don't know that I have whatever projects I have going on. But that to me, layer after layer of confirmation, everything you want, everything you're afraid to want. Mhm. It's right there. It's right there. Do you have the courage? Do you have the courage? If you don't have the courage, I mean, be honest with yourself right now and admit to yourself, I don't have the courage right now. And if you can admit that to yourself, you can begin working on what needs to be worked on, which is what? Um, Looking for more courage within yourself. You have deeper reserves of courage that exist within you. You're just not aware of it, right? Okay. Now this guy again. That's okay. Well, everything's upside down. She's not upside down. Ice queen. Ice queen. Okay. So let's break this up. Okay. There are things that are being initiated on your behalf. And these things might not be things that you think you want. These things might be things that you actually need in order to get to the next part, in order to develop whatever needs to be developed within you. So kind of just be patient with this process just a little bit. Okay. Be patient with this process just a little bit. For some of us, we're already getting quite a bit annoyed, frustrated. You're feeling like there's not enough progression. You're putting a lot of effort into something. Maybe you're investing a lot of your time, your money, resources, whatever it is, and it's not progressing in the way that you feel it should progress. In reality, it's progressing in the way that it needs to progress, right? You know, there's a lot of fruit that once you pick it off the tree, once you pick it off the bush, whatever it grows on, once you pick it off, you just wait enough time and it continues to ripen. It will eventually be ripe. But there are other types of fruit, and I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but there are other types of fruit where once you pick it off of wherever it's growing, whether it's a vine or a tree or a bush or whatever it is, it halts the ripening process. That's that. That's it. It doesn't continue to ripen. I think what you're dealing with is something that doesn't continue to ripen if you um, pick it off of where it's growing before it's ready. Be patient, okay? Whatever this is, it is progressing. It's no longer in a space of containment. It's something that's going to continue to develop and expand in its potential, expand in its benefits to you. Let it ripen. Don't, don't, don't be so hasty. I think that would be the appropriate word. Don't be so hasty. Okay? Now, this masculine is upside down. I was going to say something. This masculine energy is upside down, right? This might have to do with a person. This might have to do with your own masculine energy where you want to achieve something aggressively, right? And it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. It's either you or someone else that has their eye on the prize. Are you the prize? Is that what it is? Is this being presented as though you are the prize? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Huh. Whatever it is, it's very rickety right now. It's unstable right now. And maybe that instability is not due to some type of mental instability. Maybe that instability is more about the footing that you're on, the ground, the surface that you're standing on, the foundation. Maybe what's happening is something of a crumbling away, right? Maybe it's a crumbling away, and not a crumbling away as though something's rotting, but a crumbling away because the very earth beneath you is shifting. It's shifting and redirecting you and creating new opportunities, a new landscape. I'm choosing to continue to see that everything you could possibly ever want is being prepared for you. There's a huge feast being prepared for you. And you simply have to do the work that needs to be done before you can attend the feast. And it's not necessarily that the work that you need to do before you can feast is like save an entire continent. No, like think smaller scale. Maybe all you need to do is get ready, right? Maybe that's all you need to do is get ready. Maybe all you need to do, the work that needs to be done, is you need to select what type of items you'll have at your feast. It feels like the foundation is crumbling, but what's really happening is you're beginning to realize the foundation that you had once built, that you were counting on being the very thing, surface that you're going to build all of your dreams from. It wasn't big enough. Ooh, I like that. It wasn't big enough. You weren't thinking big enough. So that needs to be, you know, probably done away with. I'm not a contractor. I don't know. I'm not a general builder, a general contractor. I don't know how this works. So if a foundation is too small, do you kind of just like demolish the whole thing and then redo it? Or do you simply repair what's happened that's not up to par? Because we need to find this out. Um, who do I know that knows construction stuff? I can't even think. Let me just Google it. I was going to call someone. Okay, let's see. Demolition is usually a last resort for foundation issues, but it can be necessary in extreme cases. A building may be demolished if it's become a hazard or if another structure needs to replace it. Most foundation issues can be repaired. Okay, so your whole life doesn't have to crumble. And it's generally safe to continue living in a home with foundation problems depending on the severity. A professional can assess the damage and advise on the best course of action. Repairs may include concrete piers, leveling. Okay. Okay. Mhm. Mhm. All right. So this is a really good statement. Note the house doesn't need to be demolished to repair the foundation, but it can be a costly repair. It's best to talk to an expert in the field of foundation repair. First, you have to understand that there are different types of foundations, and each possibility will require different types of repairs. So, depending on how your foundation is starting to be inappropriate, um, I guess you could always expand that, assuming you put the appropriate solution in play. It doesn't mean you need to completely demolish the whole thing. I saw a house that was separating into two parts. Half of the foundation was starting to slide down the hill, and the other half was fine. I was looking at homes years ago, and it was like a multi-million-dollar home, and they were selling it for like 300,000. But you would need to have the foundation repaired. You would need to put in a retaining wall. All of that stuff would need to be done, and that was going to cost a lot. But I was like, oh, that's so fascinating. You don't just tear it down. I guess it depends on how bad it is. If the foundation that you've laid for yourself is something that's simply been outgrown, you could always just add to it, I guess, right? Now, if it's something that needed to be repaired, there's some type of crack. I'm speaking in analogies in case people are wondering. The foundation that I'm talking about is an analogy for the way you've set your life up. Okay. So if the way you've set your life up, just has a few cracks in it, and it's something that can be repaired, but you wait too long and there's the expansion, contraction, and it gets worse and worse and worse. Depending on how long you wait, I mean, that could be something that will totally wipe you out. So maybe if you want what you want, you need to try and fix things as you become aware of what needs to be adjusted, needs to be fixed within your perception, within the way you move in your life, within the way you speak to yourself, within the way you block your own blessings. Everything you've ever wanted is being offered to you already. It's being probably offered in ways you don't understand, but it's being offered. It's being offered by your soul. Mm. For those who are stepping, and it doesn't matter what your gender is, for those who are stepping into that space of creation, right? You're actively wanting to create something, an opportunity, or whatever it is you're actively wanting to. You're going through a period of awakening. You're becoming very much aware of what your soul is presenting to you. You're becoming very, very aware, and that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Now, as you become aware, you might also notice that there are those within your life, within your circle, who kind of like low grade sabotage some of your stuff, your projects, your mindset. Like when they see you doing a little too good for what they're comfortable allowing you to achieve, they might throw in some salt, right? Um they might kind of be like, "Oh, that's cute. You got your little thing happening. That's cute." Bitch, it's not cute. It's fucking fabulous. It's fabulous. It's amazing. It's an opportunity of a lifetime. You need to really command your space. You need to really lay claim on whatever it is that your soul is offering you as an opportunity. You need to get yourself nice and cold when it comes to these people who like to go out of their way to very covertly sabotage your efforts. So, all right. Hmm, I'm liking this. I'm liking this. Okay, that's going to be difficult for most people. You guys can do it though. It's just a little bit of a challenge. Who doesn't like a good challenge? I love a challenge to a certain extent. Not inviting challenges to pop up. So, balance. There's a balance that's being reestablished in your life. Whatever this balance is, it involves your shadow. This is what you're being guided to. You're being guided directly into that shadow space where much of your power is still being stored. Now, what's to happen will transcend, it will go beyond simply your earthly existence. Okay. This is something for those of you who are ready. This is something so effing mind boggling. Like, you won't be able to wrap your mind around this. I think for some of you, you're already starting to get um, these little blips, these little indications that your efforts are about to pan out. I don't know what that means. Like, I'm so nosy right now. I want to know. I want to know what is not panning out yet. I mean, you don't have to tell me, but just like if you want to. If you want to tell me, you can. Mm. I feel like a second heartbeat and a nervousness. There's a nervousness. I'm wondering if it's a nervousness pertaining to you, kind of like whoever this is. I don't know if it's you. I'm wondering if someone is nervous about approaching you. Is there like some type of work opportunity that someone wants to present to you? Is there, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it's making me feel very tense. They're like so nervous. I don't know. It's almost even a sense of like someone is wondering, like, oh my gosh, is she reading me right now? I don't fucking know. I don't know. Anyways, transformation. You're going through a transformation. It needs to be a heart-led transformation, a very heart-led transformation that really allows you to enter into a space of allowing yourself to blossom, allowing yourself to bloom, allowing yourself to ripen while on the vine, right? Without fear of that ripeness turning into rot. You definitely you're emerging from something intense, and whatever it is you're emerging from, it's almost like it's almost like you were raised as a Spartan. You were raised in some Spartan type environment, and it was needed. It was needed. Or maybe you just spent some time in that environment, and it was needed because that was the very thing that was going to create the depth of character, the texture in that character that will forever solidify you in what it is you're supposed to do. Excuse me. Mm. You're being reminded you are, in fact, limitless. You are, in fact, limitless, and you simply need to just like stop tripping. You do. I'm speaking to me too, don't worry. Yeah, no, we all need to kind of just stop tripping. It's giving imposter syndrome, where you are so perfectly calibrated for the thing that you're supposed to do, but you continue to choose to believe that, oh, what if I fail? What if I this? What if you just chill out and do what needs to be done? I'm just saying. Because that might be a feasible option. Kind of just focus on what you need to do. One thing after another thing after another thing, and then eventually all the things you need to do get done, right? So I'm recognizing that part of the way that I function within my work and everything is that I have to be free to do what my brain is fixated on doing, while I also simultaneously um, keep tabs on deadlines. Does that make sense? Because, like, if someone tries to give me a list of things like a to-do list and they create the to-do list for me, it just fucking frazzles my brain. It frazzles the absolute caca out of my brain. It doesn't make me mad. It doesn't frustrate me, you know? It frazzles my brain because it's like trying to force my brain to work in a way that it doesn't work. So then what's that telling you if your brain works the same way as mine, where you kind of just have to be left to your own devices? You just kind of do. You have to be left to your own devices because, you know, yeah. I think that's telling you that you need to take the front and center primary position in your life. You have to stop waiting for someone else to come in and tell you what to do and what you want and how to get what you want. You kind of just need to take in some of the words from people and then decide for yourself in what order do those words make sense to you. Because my solutions, they don't make sense to people until I'm like deep in that process. And then people who are viewing are like, oh, holy shit. Oh, I get it. I get it now. Like, wow, it makes sense. What's up? Know what I'm saying? And the distractions, you want fine ass distractions, sir. Can you just can hold on. Can you turn around and face me and do a couple peck pops of love? Wait. Before you leave, turn back around. Spread your lats for me. I'm sorry. That was a lovely distraction. Anyways, I don't know what I was talking about. I don't know what I was talking about. Um, that's just one fine ass man. Okay. Refocus. Just, I gotta get some of this energy out. Just, you just gotta let it out. Ooh. Okay. Okay. I'm present. I'm focused. He's just so fun. Okay. Shadow self. You need to enter into that space that lives within you, because right now your soul wants you to go shopping through your abilities. It wants you to pick and choose what you need front and center, right? I mean, you guys were intruding just a little bit, but I'll forgive you. Just a little bit. I'll forgive you though. Anyways, um a lot of what's happening, it is a part of your sacred journey, but it doesn't seem like it. It seems to you, quite possibly, it seems to you right now that there's just a whole bunch of distractions, a whole bunch of setbacks, a whole bunch of this, a whole bunch of that. In reality, what's happening is everything that needs to happen in this moment. Everything that you want is being prepared for you. I want to build the sanctuary. And it's about to happen. It is about to happen. Make it happen. Okay. Okay, we're being called out right now. We as in me. Being called out right now. Okay. Mhm. Who don't like a little friction? I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes I flirt with myself. Don't mind me. He started it because he came in this room. Now I'm distracted. My mind's somewhere else. Just give me a moment. I just got to drink something. Okay. Let me just drink something. Okay. Ready but waiting, but it's in reverse. So this is telling me you're ready and you're not willing to wait anymore, which is good. It's good. Everything is unfolding. Everything is kind of being rolled along. It's being pushed forward. It's everything. You know Roombas? It's my mortal enemy. I don't know what type of frequency I emit, but this fucking rolling ass bitch follows me through the house. It's like it looks for me. It could go anywhere in the house, anywhere in the house. But the moment it senses me, it makes like a beeline right for me. I'm fighting the intrusive thought to get up, pick it up, and just chuck it. Just chuck it. Just, bitch. Right? Right? Just, I fucking told you quit stalking me. Because it runs over my feet and my toes and stuff. And I'm just like, personal space, personal space. Okay, it's going away. It's going away. Anyways, perspective. You need to adjust your perspective because what's happening right now, um, it's almost like you're at the base level of the mountain that your soul is asking you to climb. And you've got it in your head that even if you climb higher, um, you're still not going to be able to see what needs to be seen. Like, fucking climb. Just because you can't see that there's a plateau higher up on the mountain doesn't mean that you will never see beyond the tree line. If y'all have never been to Mount Shasta, just remember, like, I would have these cockamamie ideas to go and have like just a picnic over there, despite the fact that it takes like 3-4 hours to get there. We would drive all those hours just to have a picnic and then leave, go back home. So the first time I went to Shasta, I was like, I want to see the wonder of it all. I want to see the beauty of everything, right? And so you kind of had to go through a neighborhood. It's the street cuts through a residential neighborhood. So you go through the neighborhood and then you start passing the neighborhood and you get into the trees, actual forest, tall ass trees. And for it seems like forever, you're going on this winding road and all you see are like trees basically stuck together. You're not seeing shit except the road in front of you and the road in back of you through your mirror. There's no beautiful view. And I'm like, this fucking sucks. I hope this is like not all we're going to see because this is it. I remember the first time that was my thought, like, this fucking sucks. This is all we're going to see. I could look at trees, tree trunks from anywhere. But if you kept driving, what would have happened and what did happen, we kept driving. My husband was like, just chill out. You're just sitting in the car. Look at the trees, which I did. I was pouting at that point. And he just kept driving. And then suddenly you burst out from the trees. And then this road, it winds just a little bit more. And you're like, oh, all the trees are gone. I can see the mountain now because I wanted to see the mountain. And then you keep driving, you get to this plateau. It's like above the tree line. and you park and you look out and you see for forever. You are so high, you can see clear across everything. You can see the waves of the treetops. And when I say waves, it's like the changes in elevation. It looks like ripples in the treetops. And you can see where the sky kisses the earth. And I'm just like, oh, oh, I was impatient. Holy shit. See, don't make that mistake. Don't think that you've seen everything that you need to see to function in the life that you're meant to live, a life that you're not yet even aware how you're going to function in it, the details of it. Like, had you asked me maybe just, I don't know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I don't know. Yeah, 6 years ago. Emmy, can you see yourself being a public speaker? Ew, no. Yeah. Why would you ask me that? That's weird. Why did you ask that? Yeah, that would have been my response. Oh, ew. Why, yeah, that's weird. No, I don't. What would I speak about? I mean, I was already live streaming, but to me, that's not a public speaker. It's not. It's not a public speaker. It's basically how I homeschool my kids. We're just having conversation, and the conversation happens to be something that could potentially lend to your efforts to educate yourself. My children are self-educated. I just assist. That's all I do is I assist. And that's how I saw it. But now my perspective has changed. It's shifted because I've climbed up and down the side of a hill, and I'm understanding that just because I get to the top of the hill doesn't mean I'm in danger of rolling off that hill. And because now I understand my footing is sure. I'm a fucking Capricorn for a reason. Have you seen those goats that climb the mountains? I got long ass toes. It could just like, it could grip a little ledge. My toes can grip stuff. I'm sure footed in that way. I had to go up and down a hill several times for me to understand that. I've never been in danger of being harmed or hurt because I'm simply walking through my life. And now that I've done that hill, that mountain in the distance that it's still a distance away. It's still pretty far and it's really, really tall. Well, maybe I could do that just a little bit. Just, just a little bit, you know? Like maybe it's not that dangerous. Maybe it's not that scary. And maybe what I'm sharing with you about my perspective on my life and my journey is the way you get comfortable with a greatness you were born to fulfill, a greatness that lives inside you already, but you're too afraid to recognize. Everything you want is already with you. All of the potentiality, all of the opportunity, all of the awareness, right? But if you're so convinced that you can't do something, then you never will. You never will. Sometimes you just got to do the one thing that you're the most afraid of. I'm scared of heights. Years ago, the one thing that I was the most afraid of is heights. Why would I ever go skydiving? And the importance of who you're around as you decide to do these things is crucial. So I had made a friend, and it was not normal for me to just randomly be like, hey, I know I just met you, but do you want to come over? Let's go skydiving. That's how that played out. Right. And they're like, sure. And I was like, oh, you do? Okay, let's do it. And I made an appointment. I called a place. I made an appointment for the two of us to skydive together. Did I tell you that I'm scared of heights? Uh, yeah. And what's funny is the day we were going to go skydive, I gave her the address and I'm like, wait, where are you going? It turns out that I made an appointment for a completely different place. There was this spot that I used to drive past because of where we lived at the time. I thought I had made an appointment for there, but no, it's for a completely different skydiving place in a completely different city. And I was like, oh, okay, well, um, ooh, okay. And then we got lost and we couldn't find the way because the GPS wouldn't show it to us. And so I had to call the owner and he's like, oh, I'm not there. I didn't know I had an appointment today. And I was like, are these signs? Are we going to die? And because the person that I was with is just so freaking chill, I wasn't afraid. They weren't afraid. Owner rushed over there. By the time the owner arrived, we finally found it. We got suited up. They gave us some pointers. We got loaded into a tin can of a plane. And while we were climbing altitude, because I was tandem jumping, meaning I was hooked onto his crotch. Not even joking. I was hooked onto his crotch. I was sitting between his legs on the floor of a tin can plane, and I looked by my foot and I'm like, do you need that? He didn't hear me. And I was like, oh, maybe he doesn't need it. And then I was like, maybe I should just ask him. And I was like, do you need that? And he sees it. He goes, holy shit, that's the altitude sensor. We definitely need that. I was like, oh, 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 shit. I'm not even joking. So he puts it back on his wrist. And I was all gung ho because you can't see outside of the plane. You can feel the plane is climbing altitude, but you can't see out. Um, until he opened the door. And then I looked and I was like, oh no. No, thank you. Except the person that I was jumping with was on this side. The door is on this side, and they can't jump if I don't get out. And there's nowhere for me to go to give them space to jump. And I was like, oh, I don't want to be a killjoy. So we jumped. You know what I learned in that moment? Because once you jump, there's nothing else you can do but just be present because you literally cannot stop what's happened. And so we did the free fall for I don't know how long. And then he pulled the parachute. And then we were dang-a-langing. And then he thought it would be fun if he spun me all the way the fuck around. And I was like, ooh, yeah, ooh, fun. And then I realized I actually wasn't scared and it was extremely peaceful. Extremely peaceful. And there was nothing about being thousands of feet in the air that was scary to me at all. It felt right. It felt comfortable. You know what I learned that day? If the people you keep around you when you're trying to accomplish something that already you have some type of bias about, some type of fear over, are not people who are very encouraging and calming, um, you're probably going to miss out on a profound opportunity, a profound experience. Another thing that I realized is I'm actually not scared of heights. I'm scared of leaving the ground. I belong up there. There was nothing scary about it at all. At all. And some people might be like, no, I could never. How do you know? If you've never, how do you know that you could never? How do you know? You don't know. You don't know. So people were like, "Well, did you," after the fact, of course, right? "Well, did you like research their insurance and, you know, did you research all of their safety stuff? Are they up to code and yada yada yada?" And I was like, "No, I had no idea who I called." I thought I called a different place. Um, I had no idea who I called. I made an appointment and turns out it was a different place. And all of these little things that are really ways in which my fear continues to filter my experience. They popped up, and the usual me would have said, "This is a sign. Oh my God, we're in danger. No, we shouldn't. No, no." You know, all those things that went wrong, because it was literally one thing after another thing, right? All those things that went wrong that I normally would have received as an indication that my life is in danger. All I did was like, okay, bottom line, soul, soul. Listen, listen, girlfriend, listen. Okay, don't let this plane get off the ground if I'm really going to die. And that's it. Don't let this plane lift off of the ground if I'm really going to die. And once I felt the plane lift off of the ground and we were only several feet off the ground, I was like, oh, I guess we're supposed to. We're supposed to do this. Okay. I mean, we're already here. We're already here. If you can approach your experiences in that way, where it's like, I won't know until I try, because you won't. You won't know unless you try. And if you try and it doesn't happen, then you know the way you tried was not the best way. So try a different way. But I mean, what if it doesn't work the first 5 times I try? So then that tells you you need to try a sixth time. That's what that tells you. Do you really want what you want? Because what you want doesn't require a revolution. It just requires you to be dedicated, to be committed to what you chose. If what you're seeking is perfection, you're going to miss out on the most beautiful things in life, because the perfection comes in hindsight. It comes in hindsight. So let's look at relationships, right? So for many people, you're looking for a perfect relationship because that's how you know it's going to be a long term, lifelong fairy tale. That's funny. It is. It's funny. It's funny because if that's what you're looking for from the start, um, you will never be in a long-term relationship. If the moment it becomes inconvenient, the moment it pushes you, that relationship pushes you to find deeper pockets of you and your truth. Um, and you think that, oh, this is a sign that it's not working. You have no idea what you're missing out on. I used to have that mindset. I used to have that mindset. Any little thing goes wrong, my brain goes haywire, and that's it. That's a sign. That's it. This is done. This is done. Yeah. I would have missed out on some really beautiful things. I I know that for a fact. The only reason I know that for a fact is because I trusted my soul when my soul said, "You're not done. Sit down, unpack that bag. You're not going anywhere. That's the only reason I know. You see, a lot of people, and no one's ever seen Frey. You guys haven't seen us interacting, right? It's some cheesy ass shit. I'm telling you. It's cheesy. We've reached the cheesy part of our marriage. Um, a lot of people will comment things like, "That's the kind of relationship I want." Do you know how long it took to build that? Do you know how much of my fear had to be eroded away through conflict, friction between us? That friction, that butting heads, that disagreement, that lack of commonality, because we're polar opposites. We're polar opposites. I can tell you exactly what he will decide based on what I will decide, because whatever I decide, um, he's going to tell you the opposite. Not because he knows what I've decided, but because that's how polar opposite we are. He served as a sandpaper that eroded my fear. Because as much as he like enables me and my attitude and everything else. Hmm. Yeah, no, he does have limits. He has limits. He does have autonomy. You can't force him to do anything. Hmm. You can't. If he is a Gemini through and through, you can't force him to do anything. He will tell you exactly what you want to hear. Well, that's, yeah. He'll be like, sure. And I'm like, you're not going to do it, are you? He goes, well, mm-hmm. Are you really going to do it? Now I can laugh about it, but that was like, mm-mm, liar. But was that a lie? Or was it an awareness of my own circumstance? And that was how he was coping with me. I mean, you look at your life, you look at the things that you want. What you want is the end product. That took many, many, many years. I mean, some people haven't even lived as long as I've been in a relationship with this man. And you want that. But you don't want to commit that time and that effort and allow portions of your ego and your fear to be eroded away by the abrasive type conflicts that could pop up in a real relationship. I don't know that you will ever have that. I just don't know that you will, because we have this concept of falling in love, but what happens after you fall? You're simply injured. That's it. You don't know what to do. You feel stuck in that hole. You fell into this hole that you thought was love. And now you become desperate to claw your way out. I fell in love. We didn't fall in love. We grew in love. We entered into a hole knowing it was a seed that was being planted and covered. And so much growth happened for each of us in that silent darkness. And then something beautiful happened. We continued watering what we began, right? You apply this to your aspirations for your career, for your business. You apply this to friendships. You apply this to romance. There's really no limit. There is no limit as to what you can do, what you can grow in love. There's no limit. But it has to be someone that's healthy for you. They don't have to be completely healed. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be just like you. If you're seeking someone who's just like you, same exact interests, same exact mindset, where are you at in your life? Are you where you want to be? Because if you're not where you want to be, I mean, is it the wisest thing to make it a goal to find someone just like you? In the profound awareness of my soul, it knew that I could only thrive in an environment that's polarized. How can I exist in such a space of wholeness and be able to see things from different perspectives? Because I've been with this man who is a polar opposite of me for half my life. Half my life. I see it from my end, I see it from his end. And it's like, oh, maybe I am tripping a little bit. just, just a little bit. Maybe I should put the plastic butter knife down because threatening him with that is just really not productive. That's not productive. He's going to tell you that anyways. He's going to be like, you just need to put that plastic butter knife down because that's not productive. No, I've never threatened him with a plastic butter knife. With a fork, yes. With a fork, yes. Yes, I have. I have. Um, I think if you allow yourself to recognize that being in an environment that is filled with only people just like you is quite possibly your biggest hurdle to expanding your view on life. I think if you can wrap your mind around that and really open yourself to be in varied types of environments with people who have differing opinions, different points of view, different experiences, exactly what is for you. I think that potentiality becomes solidified and it's only a matter of time before it comes to full fruition. You have to allow your process. Everything you could possibly ever want is already being prepared for you, but do you even know what you want? You need to allow yourself to stretch. You need to allow yourself to get to a point where you're not so rigid in your expectations and your beliefs. You have to. You have to. And the influence of others, that needs to be tempered. It needs to be something where um, you can allow yourself to hear what other people have to say, to consider how it fits into your life, if it should be implemented, integrated, or if it's not, right? I mean, just because they have a different opinion doesn't mean it's either them or you. One of you is right and only one of you can be right. It doesn't mean that at all. You're being presented an opportunity to see the same height from a different side of the mountain. I mean, how profound is that? How profound is that? To be able to see life in its totality by simply allowing other people to be themselves and to witness them being who they are. That's how you grow in love. Accepting that you guys are different. You're not meant to be the same. And that maybe if you listen for a moment, um, you'll be able to have a different perspective that you can take into consideration as you make your decisions. You need context. You won't have context if you want what you want and that's that, and no one else can tell you anything about anything because you're right, everyone else is wrong. They don't know and they don't know and they don't and do you know everything? You might think you know everything if you still don't know what you don't know. Have you ever heard that saying? You have no idea how little you know if you don't know what it is that you don't know. Interesting. That's a very interesting thing. Very, very interesting thing. Everything you've ever wanted, it rests in that space that you don't know exists. How do you get there? I don't know. Well, what do you need to do to get there? I don't know. Well, where is it even at? I don't know. What I do know is I feel its presence. I feel the reality of its existence. It's a tangible thing at this point. What's tangible? I don't fucking know, but I feel it. I feel it. I don't know what I feel, but every time I've trusted that feeling, my life has opened in ways that I could have never achieved without blindly trusting my soul and jumping out of that plane. Sometimes you'll be asked to jump with people you barely know. And if you allow the fact that you barely know them to hinder you from what you're being asked to experience, which is what? An opportunity to build trust between the two of you. Sometimes, if you just believe in that and hold that, despite the fact that so many people have done you dirty, because we all have that. All of us have that part of our history where someone's done us dirty. We didn't see it coming, or we allowed it, we enabled it, whatever it is. We all have that in our history. But if you allow that portion of your history to completely cripple you from allowing yourself to be open to connecting with the people who are worthy of you, I mean, that's sad. Because that could be the very friend that you've been looking for your whole life. That could be the love of your life that you are allowing yourself to walk away from. Not everything you walk away from will be there when you go back for it. Opportunities, friendships, relationships. Not everything you walk away from will be there where you left it when you go back for it. What do you want? Because if there is something that you want, you need to be very clear within yourself. And if it's a person, you need to be very clear with that person. You need to. But I mean, what if it doesn't work? Having it end at some point, years down the line, does not negate the amazing things you experience together as friends, as a romantic partner. It doesn't matter. It doesn't suddenly negate all of that. You still live through those good parts. Those are still valid. You still learned what you learned. Was it a loss? No. For many people, when they're in that relationship and it ends and it ends and it crashes and burns at the end, um, I'm thinking of one of my girlfriends. Um, she was in a very long-term marriage. I think it was like 15 years or something like that. It's a long time. 13 years. Oh no, it was a long time. And I remember it was this thing of like this feeling of I don't want to throw away all those years. Babe, those years are not being thrown away. That's how many years it took for you to learn to love yourself. It's a long time, but it's not the entire lifetime. That means from that point forward, you have the rest of your life to apply what you've learned regarding how you deserve to be loved, the ways you want to be loved, and now you're empowered with clarity. Now you know when the person is standing in front of you and they have all those things that you know you deserve and they're willing to share that with you. Now you know. You're my person. You are my person. It only took you 13 years to figure out what it is you deserve. It's not a long time. You're meant to live quite some time. 13 years is not long. That's a very good investment in yourself. Yeah, I would say that's a very good investment in yourself, right? Anything that helps you to learn about yourself and deepen a relationship between the self and the soul, I think that's a wise investment. The human mind might not be able to grasp it, to quantify exactly what it is that means, right? I think your lives are about to change. Some of you, it has to do with money. Others of you, it has to do with love. And others of you, it has to do with self love, self healing, allowing yourself to enter into a totality once again, exist as a wholeness. You are autonomous, came into this world whole. There is no other half that you're needing or wanting that's going to make you whole. You were already born whole. Let your mind finally accept that so you can stop feeling fractured, so you can stop trying to keep open this void. Some people will say, but Emmy, I've never felt welcomed anywhere. I've never felt like a part of anything. I feel like I don't belong anywhere. As someone who's felt that for most of my life, I realize now the only reason I felt that was because I've never allowed anyone to see who I really am. And so a large part of me knew these people who were drawn to me, these people who ended up loving me, they were people who loved a character that was created to appease them. And that's why I never felt like I belonged. But the moment I stopped playing that game with the rest of the world, and I was just like, listen, this is me, this is what it is. There's no changing it. I will continue to learn and grow and shift, but you will not be changing me and turning me into a caricature of myself or a caricature of a person you want me to be. I will not play a character. It is what it is. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Both are valid and it is what it is. Oh, mhm. I no longer feel displaced in my own life. And people be like, but you're confident. Who the fuck said that? Just because I'm comfortable being myself at this point doesn't mean I'm confident. Just because I'm in a space in my life where I've just heard so many people just talking shit about me for so long, I don't give a fuck what you think and how badly you want me to fail. The things I do is for me, the things I do is for my family, the things I do is for my community. Anything outside of that, I don't give a shit anymore. But I give so many shits within that. And guess what? Everything I could ever want has just beautifully blossomed when I was mature enough to be able to see it for what it is. Maybe you feel like you don't have what it is you deserve because what you think you deserve, that was determined by someone outside of you. I'm not talking about settling. I'm not talking about settling at all. I'm talking about flowing. I'm talking about allowing yourself to stop chasing this crazy, crazy thing of needing to alchemically change your life all the time. What is so wrong with your life that you're running from it every chance you get? Because whatever's wrong with it, that's where you need to love yourself the most. It's so easy to love people when they don't need the love. It's when they're most difficult to love that they need the love the most, right? You guys have heard of that saying? It's easy to apply that logic to other people. When was the last time you applied that logic to yourself? You can be patient with everyone but yourself. Have you ever noticed? Have you ever noticed? Maybe everything that you've ever wanted really is something that you've been afraid to give yourself for whatever reason. You want friendship, you want people around you, you want people to like you. And maybe it's this thing of like, maybe it's because you don't like yourself. And you're hoping that enough people will like you to prove to you that you can like yourself. I know that's a hard thing to hear. Friction in reverse. Friction is evidence of movement. It's a byproduct of it, right? When you allow yourself to recognize the ways in which the friction in your life, the friction that other people create in your life, is nothing but a way to get you to move. I mean, excuse me. So let's think of an example. Like, how can that be? What do you mean? Well, if you've gotten far too comfortable existing in a space that you don't belong in, you know what happens? You guys know what happens? Life has a way of making you uncomfortable in that space. Life has a way of, mm, I don't know, creating problems to force you out of that space, creating struggles, creating friction. Have you ever noticed that? A good example of this, you've been at the job that you've been at for several years now. They don't appreciate you, they overwork you, they underpay you. Um, Not just that, they kind of treat you like shit, right? Um, but it's like, I'm not just going to quit my job. I mean, I've been here for how long? I mean, you don't get any rewards for being there longer. You're not making tenure. You're not like, I mean, yeah, it's just that you're there. Okay, so you have seniority, but they treat everyone like shit. So all that means is you're the one that's been treated like shit the longest. Ooh, have you ever seen it in that way? And your soul's been telling you to start your own business. You have this amazing idea, but there's so many unknown factors. You can't guarantee that it will be a success. So rather than invest in yourself, you continue. You continue holding to the very thing that you need to let go of. So then what happens? Well, soul sometimes has a way of removing you from the very circumstance that you've chained yourself to unnecessarily. It just has a way of doing that, right? So what needs to happen? You need to let go, or else friction will be created to shave you off, to release you from from that space that you're stuck in. Connection. For some of you, you're being disconnected from the very thing that's keeping you from achieving your goals. Um, it could be a work thing, it could be a family thing, it could be a marriage thing, relationship thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. And if you let go of it, not telling anyone to break up, I'm talking about letting go of your fear of the changes that your life is already initiating for you. If you let go of it, you can then free yourself to begin seeing what your soul is trying to show you, right? I don't know what your soul is trying to show you. I just know something profound is about to happen for all of us. And some of us will fight it. I promise you, if you fight this profound thing that is about to happen for you, that your soul wants so badly for you to have, you'll win. You won't get it. I promise you. You will win. And that's quite possibly the only fight you will ever win with your soul. What will you win if you fight your soul on this? You will win a period of struggle, because what your soul will then do is create enough circumstance to break the part of you that refuses to comply. And then you get people who are like, why is life so hard? It feels like soul, my life is just trying to break me. It is. Not all of you. Not all of you, though. Not the totality of you. It's just trying to break off the part of you that refuses to allow. Like, I had to go through so many cycles of this to understand. And my soul is vicious. My soul will drag me by my hair through a dry riverbed. Ooh, the visual. And then I still got to do what my soul said I had to do and could have chose for myself. You see, free will, free will actually applies to the soul, not the human existence. That's one of the biggest lies we've been told. Free will applies to the soul, not the human existence. Everything that you could have ever wanted, again, it's being presented to you. The pathways are being cleared. You're being given different options as to how you will reach wherever it is you need to reach. And, you know, I hope you allow it this time. I agree with you, Blissful. Not a fight I want to win. This is the one fight you need to get on board with what your soul is trying to tell you. There's a power transfer, there's a wealth transfer, there's a shifting and pivoting that's occurring. I don't want to be on the depleted side of that. I'm so thankful that I've gone through everything I've gone through in my life, all the hardship, especially, all the really yucky parts that have helped me to understand I absolutely deserve all the goodness my soul is trying to bring home to me. I deserve it. I've earned it. And that statement has nothing to do with depleting anyone else, because it is my deeply held belief. We each have something allotted to us by soul, by God. And that's decided before you even come into physical form. So allowing yourself to receive what is for you, all the things that you could have ever wanted, it's not going to deplete anyone else. Now, you might have people who are jealous and want what you have just because they want what you have. That ain't your problem, babe. That's something they need to work on. So, guys, I gotta go. Give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when